Good evening, intuitives. So, when I was responding to some of the INFJ groups and stuff online that I occasionally post videos in, I noticed, one of my videos, people were asking questions, and one of them kind of, felt like the person was in dire need to have this question answered. My intuition and witchiness could sense their pain. So, buckle up for this one because this one's going to be deep. I'm going to throw the truth out there like I always do. If you are that person, heed my words. Do that. Do not deviate from what I'm about to say, because I am an INFJ and I have been in this situation a couple times, which I'm about to describe. And my brothers and sisters of the most unique, rarest, and most misunderstood personality type. Please comment below if you agree or disagree with this, especially if you too have been in this situation. And what this video is about is going to be how to tell if an INFJ you hurt still has feelings for you. Because, did the INFJ door slam me or didn't they? Well, see what happens if you approach them. First off, a hurt INFJ probably isn't going to reach out to you. So if you're waiting for them to come crawling back, we don't do that. An INFJ may, if someone hurts them and they feel like that person did it because someone was basically forcing their hand, the INFJ may hang around for a little bit, low contact wise, and try to get that person to, stand up for themselves and not be a slave. But eventually, if that person has resigned themselves to that fate, even then we'll probably just call them out and walk away, because we're all about truth. So in this situation, it all depends on what you did to the INFJ. Why are they hurt? And more or less, I'm going to guess that you weren't honest with them, because INFJs love honesty. And yes, we are prone to telling people brutal truths that they cannot handle. It is true nonetheless. Facts don't care about your feelings. If a situation is bad and you ask the INFJ their opinion and they tell you what is going on, and this is an INFJ that and you know how good their intuition is, and you know how good they can read you. You may not like what they say. It doesn't invalidate it as truth, though. So keep that in mind if you're in this situation, too. But it depends on how you hurt the INFJ. We don't handle betrayal very well at all. So, especially, in a romantic relationship, and if it's cheating, that's probably game over. It would be game over for me, but I don't know the specific INFJ in question, so I cannot say. But most likely, that would be game over. This is really unique because each situation's different. So I don't know why this INFJ, why you hurt them. I'm sure that the INFJ is validly angry. And that's a thing you got to remember with INFJ is a lot of us have dealt with narcissists and borderlines, and we're outcasts our whole lives, and we stand up for people, and we call shit out that most people will brush aside because of somebody, they can abuse that person because of their position or title or status or who their daddy is. It's okay. Because, no, I'm not going to say what I want to say. I'm just going to make a comment about where I live, but I'm trying to hold back. So, an INFJ is going to do the right thing because of our integrity that's crippling at times, but we'll do it to our own detriment. I've said that before. An INFJ will do the right thing and put themselves in danger, make themselves more of an outcast to try to help somebody out of a bad situation. It's just who we are. It's that damn hero complex, Yeah. You want to see an INFJ with a hero complex you're probably all familiar with. Look at Jon Snow. We're like that, but, real, and in my case, taller and prettier. But when you hurt an INFJ, there's no guarantee that they even want to speak to you again. Betrayal cuts deep with us. This person wrote us that they're in a romantic relationship. Understand, an INFJ does not jump into a romantic relationship. We are very upfront with someone who's pursuing us about what we want and what we're looking for and who we are. I tell girls all the time that I'm a demisexual when they hit on me. That doesn't mean it's a challenge. A lot of them think it's a challenge. Be his first one night stand. No, you're not. I've never had a one night stand unless succubuses count. Yeah, but I don't really get much say about when they show up. Oh, being a male witch. Anyway, so if you hurt this person, I'm sure they were open and honest with you the whole time. So you clearly lied to them about something. Most likely it had to be something you did, because an INFJ is very forgiving about people's past, because an INFJ is really not going to judge somebody for something they did before they met the INFJ. But if you did something, with the INFJ, that's going to cut deep, because it's going to cause self-doubt for us. Like, what did we do wrong? What could we have done better? Were we not good enough? Oh, here comes the NIiTIloop. And this can be especially bad if you hurt the INFJ and didn't regret it or share the INFJ empathy, because then they're just gonna be like, well, this person's a scumbag, like, the hell with them. Or they'll probably door slam you, or if they really liked you, they'll spotlight you. And that can actually be a good sign, and that's what I've been leading up to. An INFJ, even if you hurt them, still has feelings for you. If one, they still they still talk to you at all if they didn't door slam you. And two, believe it or not, if they show you anger. If they're angry at you, that means they still have feelings for you, because if they didn't, they would be completely indifferent and emotionless if you tried to approach them. You'd get one-word answers, stone cold. They would just be like, and I've done this to people, and I've done it recently, like, not with someone I was interested in romantically, but somebody who considered me a friend and I her, and I'd helped her through some bad situations. She stabbed me in the back good, and I just, every time she tried to engage, it's like, what? All right. And just nothing, like nothing. Yeah, nothing. But that would be our response when we're done with somebody. If we don't care about them at all, even, if you try to ask us for help, it's like, that's a shame. Go all Jerry Seinfeld on you. And just be, apathetic and indifferent. But rage, well, not only means that you hurt us, and if they're showing rage, I assume it's righteous rage, but it means they still care, and it may mean that though you hurt them, they're angry for the situation you are in, because perhaps, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here, perhaps you were in a situation where you felt you couldn't say no, and as much as you betrayed that INFJ, may understand the situation you're in, and while they're angry at you, especially if you didn't show them empathy, that's bad. You got to do that. If you act like it wasn't a big deal that you hurt them, the game over. So, but this is tough without knowing the situation. If it was something in which you felt like you couldn't say no, perhaps the INFJ still cares about you. You got to tell them why. Like, the big thing with us, if you regret something, if you regret hurting us, you have to be very open and honest about why it went down the way it did. Do not try to bullshit us, and do not do shit like, oh, well, I don't know, or, it's not like that. But no, you have to, if you care about that INFJ and you want them to understand and, patch things up, you got to lay it on the line about what happened and why. And do not lie, because an INFJ in that situation, if they're willing to sit down with you and hear you out, that means they still have feelings for you. However, if you try to bullshit it and try to minimize it and not lay it on the line in detail about what happened, and hope the INFJ, is like, oh, well, that makes sense, and maybe they'll feel for you. You'll know if they're holding you or not. But if you try to lie, you're going to get the rage, and they're going to call you out as a hypocrite, and you're going to get the INFJ spotlight. That's just what's going to happen. They're going to look you dead in the eyes, and they're going to call out everything you've ever lied about, and how you're a horrible person, and basically how you knowing who we are pursued us just to hurt us, kind of thing. Like I said, I don't know the specific situation, so I'm trying here. Yeah, you got to be brutally honest. If you really want, if you really regret hurting that INFJ, they have to know all the gory details about why you hurt them. And a lot of times we'll understand, but we won't if you're not willing to just throw it all out there. Because an INFJ, if they care about somebody, and you ask us like, what do you see? What do you think? How do you feel about me? We'll throw it all out there. You can ask an INFJ. It's like, do you think you could fall in love with me? They'll tell you. Yeah, like we will. We'll tell you. And we'll be honest. Just like how we're honest when people who pursue us that we don't want to date, we're honest about the why. You get INFJ, got to know the why. You got to know the why behind everything. And then if you do that and the INFJ understands the situation you are in, you can put that behind you. They won't continuously bring it up. However, given our inherent nature to have trust issues, we will struggle with that. Like that will be an issue for a little while because an INFJ struggles to trust to begin with, especially if it's somebody. And then the thing is, we're open about that too. I mean, I always tell people I'm getting close to that I have trust issues. I mean, I'm an INFJ who was raised by a borderline mother. What do you expect? So, in that instance, if that trust was broken, but they see it salvageable, that's going to take time, and you have to be patient with that INFJ because the INFJ in the back of their minds, like this person, it might be somebody that they have a ton in common. You might be exactly that INFJ's type, but they're going to be thinking, are they going to hurt me again? Are they going to hurt me again? Is this pattern going to repeat itself? And INFJs are big on, learning from mistakes and not repeating patterns of bad behavior and things that hurt us. If somebody hurts us and a couple years later we find somebody exactly like that person, yeah, no. We're not going to repeat that. We're just not going to do it. So if you got them to understand, be patient with them, being a little leery about trusting you. Because remember, in your case, it sounds like the INFJ trusted you at one point and you betrayed that trust, which is paramount for us. I mean, you knew that going in. I can almost guarantee whoever this INFJ is laid it all out there about who they are and what they value and what they look for. And was basically like, this is what I'm looking for. This is who I am. Are you in or you're out, all or nothing kind of thing. We don't play games. Before we really open up to somebody who's pursuing us and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we make sure that other person, wants what we want and we're on the same page. INFJ is not just trying to get laid. It's just not who we are. I'm sure there's probably a few, who out there isn't a demisexual INFJ? Huh? Okay. Oh, right. I didn't post this yet. So I would suggest too, if the reason you hurt this INFJ was not out of malice, but due to like coercive control and the machinations of third parties, if you really want to reconcile with that INFJ and realize you made a mistake, probably those people that got you to hurt that INFJ are bad. Probably bad, selfish, materialistic, narcissistic. It's just a hunch, but my intuition is pretty damn good. So going no contact with them, probably gonna have to happen because the INFJs, even if you make them understand, it's like, oh, so these people mean more to you than me, and yet you told me that you felt so deeply, so, but yet you want me back, choose. That is, that would be within our nature if people were able to coerce you into doing things that you didn't want to do and things you regret, including hurting the INFJ is going to insist that, you have to cut ties with them because, again, patterns will repeat. Maybe these other people had a vendetta against your INFJ. I don't know. Just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together for you. So it sounds like your INFJ is angry, and you're gonna have to do not, if you want this INFJ back. A lot of people try to vilify all rage as wrong. If this is somebody you hurt and betrayed, and this person is hurt and betrayed because they were honest with you and you weren't honest with them, and especially, and I'm assuming that this person doesn't, this INFJ doesn't even know why what happened, and why you're hurt. If they're not questioning their own actions and they're like, where the fuck did this come from? You gotta explain it to them. Like you gotta make him understand, because I'm sure he's in an NIiTIloop, because if he's angry, that means he still cares about you, which means he's overthinking about how things could have went differently and what he could have done differently to not be in the situation that you're in now. So understand that your INFJ is probably in part blaming himself about the situation that you're in, because to us, we can always improve, we can always do better. So he's probably questioning if he treated you well enough, even though I'm sure he spoiled you, because again, we're picky, and when we find somebody we like, it's kind of all or nothing, and we lay it all on the line. It's who we are. So yeah, he's got to know the why, even as uncomfortable as it is. And INFJs can understand some pretty dark stuff and can understand how people can be taken advantage of. You know, we get that, especially if, yeah, I don't know who you are who left the comment, but if you're somebody who's been hurt in the past and had a rough past, and that INFJ, you know, showed you empathy, they're probably going to understand about why that pattern repeated itself. But they're also going to be confused, because it's going to be like, well, you should have saw that this was going down this way. You should have saw this person for who they really are and what their end game was. And I'm sure you and the INFJ confided about your past, and you know, he probably told you that he didn't judge you for it, and probably you know, pointed out like things to do not to fall in that pattern again. And that's the other part with the rage. You know, the INFJ is mad at you for betrayal, but in your case, I almost sense that you were coerced into something you didn't want to do. The INFJ, he's probably mad as hell at whoever did that and wants to take vengeance in your name, which is a good sign. He clearly still cares about you. Ask him that, how he feels about the third parties, because if he wants to take vengeance in your name and, you know, do something to call these other people out and expose them for who they are, if they indeed were coercing you, then that means he still cares about you. It's not like he's like, well, you know, just, you know, go be their plaything. That would mean he doesn't care at all, because INFJs hate to see people taken advantage of, hate to see people robbed of their free will. So if they were that angry at you, and certainly wouldn't want anything to do with you if they basically, you know, if you tried to confide in them with regret and remorse and compassion and empathy, and he pushes you away and basically like tells you to go back with these other people and, you know, be their plaything, then yeah, he doesn't care anymore. Where else can I say? Yeah, mainly being honest with him is paramount, and make sure that he knows what exactly you want and why you hope so much for this INFJ to forgive you, because I'm sure he thinks that he doesn't matter at all to you, because again, betrayal, really big deal for us. So knee-jerk reaction is, she betrayed me, which means, you know, she knows what I'm all about and did this, so she clearly doesn't care about me. And, you know, now she's trying to come back, which means like, oh, what happened? Am I the only place that you've left to go, kind of thing? You know, because did things not work out with the other people? Yeah. And that's, yeah, it's not, we don't like that either. Like, you know, I'm really trying to think here. Just, yeah, be brutally honest with the INFJ. They'll appreciate that. We always do. Even when the truth hurts, even when truth hurts, we like to know it, because at least then we know the why. Like we can at least be like, oh, like that hurts like hell, but at least it makes sense, kind of thing. It's when we can't figure out the why of, if somebody hurts us and we can't figure out why, then that drives us to the brink of madness. It's really, 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 really hard to get out of that NIiTIloop. I have been there. Yeah, I have been there. And especially if you're in that NIiTIloop and nobody's showing you any empathy for being there, that's not good. It's not good. I was in one for weeks once. Weeks. While people were twisting the knife in it, too. Yeah. No empathy from anybody. Really drove me insane. But lay it all out there. I can't say that enough in this video. I've said it a bunch. I'm going to say it again. Lay your truth out there about what happened, why, and tell the INFJ exactly how much they mean to you, and be prepared for him to question that, because they're gonna pull stuff out of you. Be like, really? Then why this and that? And and they probably warned you. That's the other part that I was forgetting to mention. If this situation didn't happen all at once, it was probably something that was building, and it's probably involving people that the INFJ warned you about that you didn't want to hear. And if that's the case, tell the INFJ that he was right. Yeah, because we like our intuition validated. INFJs can't stand it when 1 minute somebody's telling us like how well we can read them and how good our intuition is, and then the next minute when we, intuitively sense something bad about to happen to that person, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere we're stark raving mad. Yeah, it's like, so can I read you or not? Because especially if it's like, the INFJ's intuition on this person has yet to be wrong, but all of a sudden now we're insane. Yeah, because INFJs get labeled as insane all the time. See Daenerys Targaryen syndrome. It's a good video. That's kind of my theory, and it's definitely like a thing. So watch it. Yeah, I'll wrap it up. Be brutally honest with the INFJ. Lay it all on the line. See what happens. And do not judge the INFJ if, they have trust issues. And they may be a little angry because betrayal hurts like hell, especially for us. And especially if it's from somebody that we trusted, because we trust so few people. And we appreciate true honesty, which we get from so few people. And we often help people and get stabbed in the back in return, and that makes us bitter. That's why some INFJs become hermits. I did a video on INFJ hermit mode. That's why some INFJs become misanthropes. I did a video on that too. We really, at our core, have no evil. We are in a lot of ways what people make us. And a dark INFJ is a force to be reckoned with, but a dark INFJ is someone who spent years trying to help people doing the right thing and got nothing but stabbed in the back or vilified for it. Usually simply because they called out things that nobody else would call out because somebody was protecting some, special good old boy or queen, and they INFJ question their precious status quo, which they worship as a cult. I know, I'm talking about my hometown again, but it's true, damn it. And a lot of people validated it, even boomers. Yeah, and they don't like to to admit when their own do wrong. So I hope this video answered the question. It's a little tough without knowing your exact situation. Your post was really vague, but I did the best I could, and hopefully my intuition was right enough about your specific situation. Remember, INFJs, trust your intuition. If you believe someone who harmed you is still worthy of trust, you have to listen to your intuition. No matter what connection you had with this person or chemistry you may have had, if your intuition's telling you to run, run. And don't sell out your integrity for anybody, no matter how pretty, no matter how much they cry. If you believe someone who hurt you will simply hurt you again, they had their fair chance. And that's all INFJs ever ask for out of anybody is honesty and to give us a fair chance if you pursue us and ask us to open up and trust you. See what happens. Honesty. It's up to your individual INFJ. I don't know his state of mind.